Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese, episode 566. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games, brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Matt, the road to Evo begins this week as we take a look at SoulCalibur II and all three of its versions. We'll talk about why it's on the list. We'll talk about our experience with the game, and of course we will rank it. Of course we will rank it on the list. Before that, Matt, the list, in case you're unaware, listener, is a list of video games we've been tracking for the last 3 seasons, where every episode we discuss a single game and we rank it on the list. You can find that list at thefreecheese.com/thelist. Matt, this episode is our 100th video game. SoulCalibur will join the list as the 100th game ranked. What do you hope is game number 200?
Oh no. Something not released yet. We'll go with that.
Cop out. I have my fingers on the keyboard ready to just keep this marked down forever. Oh. Alright. Something not released yet. Noted. We'll see you in 100 episodes. Video game rankings. I don't know why, but when I thought of the question, my first answer was Yoshi's Story. But I don't really want Yoshi's Story to be the 200th game ranked. I don't even know that I want to rank that game. I'm not sure. I do know that I want to rank our 100th game, SoulCalibur II. Developed by Project Soul, published by Namco, released in the arcade in Japan, July 2002. But the version we're talking about this week, the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox release, August 26th, 2003. The back of the box reads as follows. Now, I'm holding the Xbox version, so keep that in mind. I don't think the back of the box actually changes too much outside of the one little key part here. But transcending history and the world, a tale of souls and swords eternally retold. 4 years have passed since the spirit sword, SoulCalibur, defeated the evil Soul Edge. At the end of that fateful battle, the shards of the shattered Soul Edge were scattered across the world, and SoulCalibur was lost to the void. Now, the evil that still resides in the scattered shards of Soul Edge threatens again to engulf the world in darkness. Over 15 warriors, both familiar and new, battle each other in search of Soul Edge. More than 10 exciting game modes, including arcade mode, time attack mode, survival mode, versus mode, and team battle mode. Collect and use over 200 weapons and items in the all-new Weapon Master mode. This is a bullet point on the back. Necrid character created by Todd McFarlane exclusively for the home console. Thrilling. And then our final bullet point here, unlockable features including characters, costumes, arenas, and more. Because I'm holding the Xbox version, Spawn, the popular comic book character by Todd McFarlane, appears exclusively for Xbox. The PlayStation version of the game, or PlayStation 2 version of the game, had Heihachi Mishima as an exclusive character, while GameCube had a Link. You know, the fella in the green costume, exclusive to play there. Matt, we got a lot to break down and a lot to cover here when we talk about SoulCalibur II, but I think there's no question more important than why is it on the list for this year? And I can answer that, because I am the one that elected it for the list. Really, this one was one of the ones where I knew I wanted a fighting game on the list this year. We did Street Fighter 6 last year. I wanted to kind of follow up that idea a bit. And when we started looking at kind of the idea of having these Wii Sports killers, I built this sandwich graph where at the top of it is Pokemon Gold and Silver, at the bottom of it is Wii Sports Killer, is Halo Combat Evolved, and all of the games I selected for this season all connect kind of in a through line from A to B. Somewhere along the diverging paths of my mental gymnastics to connect Pokemon and Halo, I kind of weave through the idea of how multiple versions of games also kind of work. Like multiple versions led to having kind of some sort of crossover thing happening between multiple games, which we looked at earlier with Mario Kart. But SoulCalibur II, for me, was one of the earlier examples of kind of these guest characters that were also exclusive to different versions, and that carried forward a bit with SoulCalibur. Now we don't really see it so much. Actually, I can't think of a more modern game that has characters that are exclusive to a version outside of like Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed that had some exclusive PC characters. You would see it sometimes on like the GBA version of this game or the DS version of this game would have this character that the console versions didn't, or things like that. But generally, this kind of stuff is not around anymore.
Super Smash Brothers Wii U had the Ice Climbers as an exclusive.
No, they didn't. They weren't there at all.
Oh, I thought they made it on the Wii U version and not on the DS.
No, they got cut from the Wii U version because they couldn't run on 3DS. So yeah, it was...
Oh, never mind. I take that back. Shows you how much of that game I played.
Yeah, I don't think there's many anymore. Because honestly, now, post-Switch world that we live in, everything comes out on everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not much. So that's kind of why we added SoulCalibur 2 to the list. Matt, in your opinion, either before playing it or after playing it, or however, what do you think makes SoulCalibur 2 special in comparison to other games in the SoulCalibur series?
So, what makes it special? I played this one, as opposed to all the other SoulCalibur games. So that's one. Two, this is probably one of the only fighting games I own growing up. Don't know why it stands out opposed to the rest of the series, but there's that. There's tidbits and nuggets.
I mean, 2 to me was always like the one, right? Like SoulCalibur, was that just Dreamcast at home? Yeah. It later came to Xbox 360, but the original release at home was just Dreamcast. 2 was the first one that went multi-platform like that. And yeah, I mean, 3 was only PS2 and arcade, so like you didn't get the Xbox or GameCube versions on 3. And I don't remember guest characters in 3. I know they were there. But it wasn't like as big of a thing as it was here, right? Like,
no, I remember that being big. I'm sure we're gonna get into it, but yes, I remember the guest characters.
Yeah, like in 3 you can get Cosmos from the Xenosaga series. But it's not even like unlockables. It's just like those things you could do in the character creation mode. You could make things kind of appear as those, but it wasn't necessarily like this. Or like in, was it 4 that had, Yoda? Is that 4? Or was it 5?
Yes,
now
it's
I forget.
4.
Okay.
4 of Yoda.
And I don't remember, like 6 had, on the cover, you had Geralt from The Witcher. and later 2B. But I don't remember who was in 5 as a guest character.
Ezio Auditore de Firenze.
Oh, that was that one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. Okay, Devil Jin's not in the game, but the fighting style of Devil Jin is in it.
I see. Was Ezio the only guest character?
From what I'm seeing, according to one Wikipedia.
Okay. Yeah.
No, when I was reading that, I thought Devil Jin was in the series, or was in that game, but it's just the fighting style was introduced.
Right, in character yeah, that makes sense. So yeah. 2, kind of a big deal, I think. And also, like, I'm jumping way ahead here, but like, in my review, I wrote this, but playing 2, I left 2 and went back to 6 just this week, just compare. 6 feels exactly like 2. I know there's nuance, I know all of that, but like, they really have been making the same game since 2, and it still feels just as good in the most current version of SoulCalibur. And I think that this original version feels completely playable today. So for that reason, like, some of these 3D fighters, like if you go back to some of the Mortal Kombats from this era, Street Fighter was in a really weird place also, but I don't know, they don't really translate super well to the modern era. They're kind of difficult to go back to. They're a little weird. Even stuff like Mortal Kombat vs. DC, like in your mind remembering what it is, you just think Injustice 2. But you go back to it, and it sucks mostly. It's fine, but it's so weird. I don't know. It's not the same at all. So this, though, still feels contemporary to me playing it. And that's kind of like why I ended up on this rather than Tekken or another fighting game that had crossovers. Because crossovers are common in a fighting game. It's not like an uncommon thing. Guest characters, things like that. It's kind of just like par for the course if you're making a fighting game that there's going to be some sort of crossover, guest character, etc. But yeah, it's something about 2 has always just felt special. And yeah, in this one, you had 3 different versions: Xbox, GameCube, PS2, with Spawn, Link, and Heihachi. There is a series of commercials that all kind of had the same motif with like a weapons dealer or whatever, and it played into the fact that it was like Spawn, Link, and Heihachi. It was kind of, I remember those from like Adult Swim back in the day or something, watching it somewhere, getting those commercials popped up. For this one, because it's my year of Xbox, I bought the Xbox version, and I've been playing that one. Which version did you land on for this?
PlayStation 2, which is the one I owned back in the day, but
yes.
I stuck with it.
Did you ever play the GameCube version?
No.
I remember playing that at a friend's house, and of course he bought it because Link was in it. But yeah, I remember playing that one there, and that was the largest exposure I had to the game prior to us playing it for this. Because I don't think I've played much of this outside of this. Like, I remember playing it a bunch then. In high school, I feel like people kept 2 alive, friends of mine, playing on the GameCube again because of Link. But yeah, this is the first time I've spent like significant time on my own with 2. So we'll run down a bit of, well, I first want to kind of run through the rules of SoulCalibur, because every fighting game has its own nuance. The fighting in SoulCalibur, I think, if you come to fighting games from a particular background, you kind of have expectations on what the movesets look like. And what the kind of approach for fighting is. So we'll define what SoulCalibur 2's fighting is. We'll run a little bit through the modes. We don't need to go like exhaustive through those. We'll talk about the Weapon Master kind of journey mode, or whatever you want to call it there. And just kind of chat through our time with the game. The really, really, I love the manual of the game because it has everything. Like outside of telling you how to unlock the game, the hidden characters, this has like a full breakdown of everything with full detail. It also has a little postcard here for Namco's Kill Switch coming this fall to Xbox, apparently. You can go to killswitch.com to find out more information. It's got sophisticated AI, an offensive cover system. This predates Gears of War. 15 action-packed scenarios, in case you're wondering. No, but
right?
Yeah, see what's... Well, I'm curious. What do you got?
A loading bar. So that's...
Suspense?
I'll let you know when it's error 505s or whatever.
Yeah. But the manual for the game has obviously the things you'd expect in terms of, hey, here's your button layout, here's those types of things. But it has all sorts of breakdown for each mode. Also, at least on the Xbox version, there's a lot of, I guess not a lot. There's one page that has some Todd McFarlane Spawn art. And of course, an ad in the back for the SoulCalibur II action figures, which I bet were distributed by McFarlane Toys. Yes, they sure were distributed by McFarlane Toys. He really got in good with them, didn't he?
Good for him.
Yeah. All right. So in SoulCalibur II, you win the game in a number of manners. Like most fighting games, you defeat your opponent, knock out their health bar, and you win. That's kind of the core thing. It's no different here. They call that a knockout when you reduce their health to 0. A ring out is something I think unique to SoulCalibur. Obviously, Smash Brothers, the whole goal is to knock people off the stage, so there's that. But I can't think of another fighting game where like a core...
Does Virtua Fighter have ring outs?
Oh man, I don't remember now. They might. You might be right. But I feel like Tekken, the 3D Mortal Kombats, all of those, if you ring out, you just move to a new playing field, right? So, this one, this is common in other games too. There's time up, where the character with more health, when time runs out, wins. There's draws and sudden deaths. So there's stuff like double knockout, double ring out, things like that. And that'll result in a draw. And then if it's to the point where both characters have won the same number of rounds by the time, final best of, then it's sudden death. So whoever wins. Game over is when you lose a match. And this is usually just like stuff in like survival, time attack, arcade mode, those types of things. Not necessarily in a head-to-head battle.
In a quick Google search, I can confirm that as early as Virtua Fighter 2 had ring outs.
Okay, yeah.
And I see a lot of people bitching about our ring outs. Should ring outs be allowed in Virtua Fighter 5 online? So you take that for what it is and run with it.
Fair enough. The thing that stood out to me with what's a game called SoulCalibur II, in comparison to other fighting games, and this goes back to like me playing, like I guess besides 2, what else did you play in the series, or what else have you played SoulCalibur wise? This is it. I rented 4 when I got a 360 because I remember all of my friends being so stoked that Star Wars characters were in 4. And subsequently, they were all just super hyped about SoulCalibur in general. And I remembered playing 2. Don't remember anything about 3 at all, as proven by the opening of this episode. I don't remember 3 even coming out. As far as I'm concerned, they never made a 3. But I remember renting 4 and having an okay time with like the character creation and kind of running through the main campaign mode or whatever. Yeah, weapon master mode in that, I assume. 5 I don't remember playing. And then 6 I bought day 1 because 2B was in it. So that seemed like the right thing to do. But the thing that's always interesting about SoulCalibur to me is the fighting is different. I think like I'm used to Street Fighter where you have light, medium, heavy, kick, and punch. In Mortal Kombat, you have... Now I'm forgetting Mortal Kombat now. I haven't played a Mortal Kombat in so long, I'm realizing, as we're speaking.
Is it heavy, just heavy, medium, light, and block?
That might be right. Yes.
I don't know if I'm confusing it with Street Fighter Modern controls, but I feel like Street Fighter Modern controls mapped itself similar to Mortal Kombat.
No, I think you're right. And then there's Tekken, which has your left punch, left kick, right kick.
Yes.
SoulCalibur goes in a different direction. And you have a horizontal strike, a vertical strike, a kick, and a guard. And those are your 4 face buttons. The other part that makes this unique is horizontal strike and vertical strike are both done while wielding weapons. SoulCalibur is a weapons-based fighter. And yeah, you attack accordingly. In terms of modes in the game, there's everything you'd expect from a fighting game. There's an arcade mode, there's versus mode, time attack, there's practice mode, which is the key to every good fighting game. They've got team battles, so you like pick a team of characters and then you fight through the game as a team through a series of eliminations. They have a versus team battle where you do that exact thing, but you're playing head to head, player 1 and 2. And then, yeah, like survival, you defeat as many computer opponents as possible with limited health pool. So that kind of ends up being not exactly like the towers in Mortal Kombat, but I guess some sort of, I don't know, simulation of that. The other thing that stands out in this game is the Weapon Master mode, which is sort of this like adventure mode that gives you specific game type challenges that add modifiers or weird things occasionally to the match conditions that you have to combat against as well as fighting your opponent. Which that is where I ended up spending the bulk of my time, was the Weapon Master mode. Did you have the same?
Similar, yes. Yeah.
I think, is there anything else like core gameplay SoulCalibur 2 that we didn't cover that we need to cover?
Nah, I don't think not core at least. We'll get into a Weapon Master mode, what the extra weapons you get, but you do have technically the extra modes on top of this, like the extra arcade mode and the extra time attack mode that let you bring in the weapons you get from Weapon Master and their buffs and debuffs, nerfs, that kind of the kind of skill set that brings in, but it's not adding anything new besides you bringing in those unlocked weapons into the mix to let you select.
Yeah, no, that's a good call, though, because there's a lot of unlocks in SoulCalibur 2.
Yes.
Which I loved, dude. There's just so much to do in this game, and you're rewarded for just playing it. It's a lot of fun. Before we jump in and start breaking down gameplay and our time with the game specifically, I do want to ask, what happened with KillSwitch.com?
It never loaded, and I used that tab to figure out Virtual Fighter had a ring out, because that seemed more important.
If you say so. All right. So what's your approach to fighting games? When you play, I guess, Street Fighter 6 outside of SoulCalibur 2 was like your big fighting game, right? What do you do first? Do you jump into a specific mode? Is there something you try more than others?
Well, my first thing I would love to do, and this game doesn't, I think it's my biggest gripe, but I think it's just me. There's no good introduction to a character. There is a practice mode, and there are combos in a menu. That's it. There's no good. And I think that's just the curse of a modern fighter now. A modern fighter has to have that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think back then, because this is new to consoles. Back then, it was just arcade. And arcade, you put in quarters, and oh my god, there's this thing called arcade mode in an arcade cabinet, and you just go through the gauntlet of heroes, and you would just figure out that stuff naturally. And I think this game brings that in. I don't think that's a detriment to it. I think it shows its age and where it was at that time.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I went to practice mode, realized what practice mode was, and then immediately was like, I'll figure it out, and started playing Weapon Master mode.
So you did. Oh yeah, okay. So your ideal though is let me jump in and get a full character tutorial.
Let me touch a couple characters, see who I am like vibing with early, and then maybe spend the time, get like the combo list, some kind of introduction, figure it out, and then go from there. And then as I'm playing, if I come across an opponent in arcade mode or in this, Weapon Master mode or whatever, if they look cool, I'll try them. If it's not happening, I'll go back to like the person I'm comfortable with, and then keep going, find someone cool, try them. If it's not working, go back and something, and do that until something starts sticking, or until I get a familiarity with someone that I just can't surpass, like the next new character almost.
Do you have a method for picking a character?
Who is not number one? Who is not the Ryu of this? Because I know the Ryu is never going to be like the good character, so I'm not going to stick there. Some kind of combination of who looks cool and seems obtainable and fast. I did it. I knew early on that, and from what I remember of this game, I did not like a character like Nightmare.
Yeah.
I remember Nightmare specifically from playing it before. I do remember him vividly. And I remember not liking him because they were heavy. I also did not. So I knew you were going to ask this question. How'd you like playing as Heihachi? I didn't, because I fucking hated him years ago, and I did not want to relive that memory. So, we just skipped Heihachi. Fuck him. That's where I'm at. So, we didn't even try Heihachi. We just looked for someone potentially fast and cool.
Is that, how many did you have to go through before you settled on one, I guess?
I think 3 or 4.
And who did you settle on?
Talim.
Dude, me too.
Oh, hell yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yes. All right, cool.
I got a combo, like the square, horizontal, vertical. Has a good little, like,
yeah.
There's a little combo there, and I started doing that as like a crutch, and then I started mixing it up past it. I kind of found a couple moves that I never really went into the command list or her combo list. I just kind of was starting to find things naturally, because that command list, it's intimidating as fuck if you don't know what the fuck's going on. Yes. I opened it twice. I opened it at the very beginning when I was in practice mode. I was like, holy shit. And then when I got comfortable with Talim, I opened it up again and still was like, holy shit. And was just, I'll figure it out.
Because that's the thing, like, I am curious, like, if I could ever get that good at the game.
Yes. And I even have that in my review, because I touch on I even say I think this is the hardest game for me to review on the list, and it just happens to be number 100 because of its age, my approach to fighting games, where I'm at with them personally, and just it's tough to go back to this one, but you can definitely learn if you have more time and this is your dedication. It's all there. The tools are there. It's just a matter of, do you put in the time and effort?
So, well, did you feel like you struggled with this one?
I mean, to master a character, sure, yeah. But, like, I felt pretty confident in my use with Talim.
Yeah, okay. Because I never felt like I was having a bad time with the game or I was not playing well enough for the game. Yeah. But I do think that, like, yeah, if I sat down and played against friends who are good at this game, like truly good, that have been playing it since 2002, I don't think I stand a chance.
Yeah, no, I get wiped. I get wiped immediately. I will say my struggle, and this has nothing to do again with Soul Calibur, it's just where I'm at. Blocking is not the back button in this game.
Yeah.
Try that. Every loss was because I was trying to block with the back, like going backwards, and just not there.
There's that, and there's also like you do need to like pull a direction while guarding if you want to do that. What's the name of it?
Like the parry.
Yeah. I feel like it had a better, like a more Soul Calibur-y name in this.
Let's see if I can find it.
Like, yeah, doing that, like you do have to pull in a direction, so you kind of like inadvertently end up doing the like the back to block and a direction, which doesn't help with breaking that mental convention. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it at all.
Guard Impact.
Guard Impact. Yeah. There it is.
But they refer to it as use one of the following commands at the right moment to repel or parry. So it's like Guard Impact, the umbrella term, and then there's other mechanics within it.
Yeah.
Because this game is fucking overwhelming if you look at it.
Yeah, like, but I think that's what makes the game so special, and like why, like, I mean, I know Tekken came before this, but I think it's why we're still at SoulCalibur 6 and there's 8 Tekkens, you know, like, and Namco's been doing it all a while. Like, I think, or I guess Tekken was always Namco, right? Now I'm second guessing it.
Yeah, I think.
It wasn't Bandai before, because, you know, now it's Bandai Namco. I don't know why I'm thrown off by that.
That's Namco, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Namco. Sorry, I got myself tripped up for a second. But yeah, like, it's been all this time with Tekken, and there's still only 6 Soul Caliburs, and very few like spin-offs in the way that like Tekken had some tag tournaments and things like that. Like Soul Calibur has had a pretty finite amount of output. And yeah, I think it's a very, I don't want to call it niche because it's not. I mean, it is. I think of the fighting games, it's definitely like, right, like, you don't hear people say like, "Oh, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Soul Calibur." Like, it's just not.
No.
It's not up there like that, but it is like, it's still a household name. Not anything like that. But yeah, it's very different. I really like that we both jumped into and found Talim to be the most approachable. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Talim. My thing with a fighting game is I usually jump right into like a versus mode against the CPU. Unless there's like a story mode, depending on the game, I might just roll right into story. But usually it's going to be versus CPU. I pick the character that looks the coolest, and I fight against the character I think looks the second coolest. So I can see, do I like the one I'm playing as, or do I like the one I fought against better? And then I just kind of iterate until I do try and go through all of the characters I think I would maybe play as. There's a few that are always kind of like too big for me to like. I just don't like heavy characters in fighting games. So like, I don't know. In like Street Fighter, I'm never going to try Zangief. It's just not, I have and whatever, but like, yeah, it's not often. So I don't even know who in this one from like the core roster.
Well, you have Astaroth.
Yeah.
He's unlockable, but like the goons and dungeon, what's it, a berserker?
Yeah, did I unlock Berserker? Is Berserker the one you have
or
to
is Berserker's usually? No, he's in Soul Calibur. He's in the American version.
He is. I just can't remember if I got him or not, because he happens. There's one of the characters that you get like you have to replay through
What, the extra mode, the extra weapon master. I did not go through the second. I did not go through the second route of weapon mastery.
I didn't.
I touched it. I touched it, but I was like, okay, that's the same thing, kind of, pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't get Lizard Man in this time around. I didn't get. Yeah, no. Yeah, so I didn't get as far to get Berserker. I didn't get Berserker, Assassin, or Lizard Man.
I didn't get I don't think I got Assassin either, or Lizard Man.
Yeah, because Lizard Man, you need to do everything twice. Everything in Weapon Master mode 2 times through. It's too much. So yeah, but yeah, to your point, like Berserker's a little bit too big for me. Even Cervantes is kind of.
Yeah, I tried him. A little slower than I was hoping.
Yeah.
Slower than I was hoping.
And to that point, Taki is one who I thought would be lighter than she is, but she's, compared to Talon, slow.
Yeah.
And of course, in the Xbox version, I got to play as Spawn. So I did try Spawn. I did the first chunk of Weapon Master mode as Spawn. And I was good to move on from Spawn. I think especially because Spawn in this game uses axes. And I'm used to Spawn in the comics. I mean, my history with Spawn's very little. But I'm used to Spawn having chains. I always thought he fought with chains like whips, like a Belmont. And I might be completely wrong about that. But yeah, that was my my memory of it. I guess I should go play Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn a little bit more. And revisit that. Do you feel like it's important in a fighting game or in this fighting game to know how every character plays?
It's always important. At least the basics. Obviously, the more you put in, the more you're going to see the rest of the moveset come out, but you gotta at least know like what single or combo button, like early easy combo button presses you can get in and out of at a higher level. I would say the first playthrough of Weapon Master, you can kind of get through it not knowing too much. I played that second run. It was definitely harder at this. It was more like you're equivalent like a stage 6 or so in the arcade from the start. And I can only imagine it gets harder, but yeah, I mean, that stuff's always important, especially once you start getting into competitive scenes.
Yeah. When you take it out of the game and into the mental game against the person sitting next to you, it's a totally different experience. Yeah, it became really important later on to like really feel confident in. I don't know, man. I'm still not great at it, but being able to pull off the act of juggling will take you so far in this game. If you can really get there and whatever, like you can just wreck some of these computer players.
It's a shame.
Any opponent.
I was gonna say, it's the shame that stage in Weapon Master mode where you had to juggle to get to bleed health was the worst one I was at. So
yeah, when you need it, it's never gonna work. But yeah, there's definitely like matches where I would just kind of naturally fall into it. There's others where like I would try and it just wouldn't work, and I just have to brute force my way through. So yeah, I don't know. Was Weapon Master your favorite game mode in this? Did we explain Weapon Master?
Not really.
Let's do that. So how would you explain that to someone who's never played it?
It's like an adventure mode, but yeah, you go through these. It's like levels with a story. There's a story tying this all in, and let me tell you what, there is a story there. You are going to be reading a novel if you want it all, but
it
is there. It is definitely there, and even some of the characters get named off of key names in the story. I was noticing that because they in the reading, they at least highlight names as yellow, so you see a name, and then you see the name your character is fighting, you're like, oh, okay, I guess somewhere in there something happened. So yeah, here's your story mode if you want it. If you're like me, after the first chapter, stopped reading, you just go stage to stage, and it's battles, but it's a variety of mix-ups. Like we started to explain, like one later on was about juggling. You can only do damage if you're juggling your opponent in midair. There's others where you might have to ring out the opponent instead of beating them straight up. There's ones where your health your health is depleting the entire match, and you have to beat them before your health, or while your health is depleting and taking damage regularly. You might have to beat 3 people with little health and little health regain between. It's all kinds of different scenarios, and it's a good mix-up of stuff. I never felt you would see the same stuff, but I never felt bored doing it.
No, by the time they would recycle things, you've already done so many other different ones that it felt new.
And then, based off that, like there's like sub chapters that take you off for different things, either more lore dump, or you would go that way to get a new feature unlock, as it will put it, across the screen. Yes. And then when you get your unlock, and it could be a weapon for another character, or it could just straight up just be a brand new mode, brand new stage, brand new character. Yeah, so you kind of do those things. And then I think one of my favorite things about this is there's dungeon crawling within this. So stages will go to this thing where you dungeon crawl, and like each stage in the dungeon is another fight. And then some of them have conditions. So like you're nursing a health bar the entire way, and you get small regens, but you have to like be careful doing whatever. One of my favorites was the 300-second one. So you had 300 seconds at the start of the dungeon, and that is your time to get through to the end.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, no, like you were rewarded for exploring in the dungeon because there were feature unlocks in them, and it was really cool to like see a path split, and you would go one way, you would see it's kind of taking you towards the end. So you go back to that optional one, and boom, weapon for a character that you might not be using, but like an unlock was there, and it felt worth exploring it.
To chase it down for sure.
So but essentially, it's these stages. They take you across different things. There could be like these dungeon things. There's not many of those. I would say that there's 6 in the main quest line that you run through.
Yeah, there's kind of like 1 through each major chapter.
Yeah, like maybe 1 per every 2 or something like that. But no, you run through those, and yeah, like I said, there's a story there taking you from arc to arc or level to level. But yeah, but essentially you're playing the game to unlock this stuff, and there's the world view, and the cool thing is you can jump in and out with any character at any time. There's no penalty, nothing. You don't lose gold, don't lose a level, anything like that. You keep getting experience. It's pretty much on the account. The gold you're getting is on the account. And then there's a shop in each of these levels, and the shop changes as you're in different levels, and that's where you can buy weapons if you're not unlocking them. And the weapons play a bit into it. Some of them kind of change the look to your character as well. Minor things, but like Talim's blades might look a little bit different. She might hold them a little bit different, but same kind of same combo list. Nothing really changes in your moveset. But no, like that's where you pick a weapon for your character if you have some unlocked, and it's different buffs and nerfs depending on, like, some might have extra range on your swings all of a sudden, but you eat more damage per hit now. All kinds of stuff like that. And it's not just like 4 or 5 weapons per character. It is like 12. It's extensive if you go to collect them all.
Yeah. Did you find yourself swapping out a lot? Or
I was experimenting with stuff. I was trying to not do stuff that would like nerf myself. I was looking for the ones that would just like, if it's just a small buff, just to mess with them. I found one where it was like, there was a good pair that seemed to increase like damage resistance and deal more damage and help with, I think, your soul charges. Although I wasn't necessarily doing much of the soul charges because I didn't know how to combo into them. Again, this is where I think time and effort gets you there.
Yeah,
but
there's that technical level. Yeah, we did not have.
But no, I was messing with different weapons and stuff like that. I would say early on in the weapon mastery stuff was because of the way the stages are, where there's different conditions to win sometimes. That was when I was experimenting with the character. So, like, Talib would be my base and might go back to, but I might start a stage with someone else and see if I like them. I might only play, like, a stage or two with someone and maybe not given the time they deserve for me to actually really like them, but I was getting an early feel, an early first impression, and if it wasn't lasting, I would not really stick with them.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, very similar approach. Yeah, let me... Difficulty-wise, do you feel like the game overall is difficult? Do you think that you were able to adapt to it?
Yeah, I would say my difficulty came when I just wouldn't block enough. I was just trying to spam into combos, and I wasn't playing patient, and some of the stuff at the end of Weapon Mastery bites you in the ass. I would say the later stages of arcade mode start to, you have to learn to block some and look for your openings, but no, I think it's fair for a player like me or you who doesn't have this game mastered at all, but it's you have to learn a couple things to get through the arcade mode and Weapon Mastery, and especially Weapon Mastery New Game Plus, whatever the fuck you want to call that.
Yeah. Fighting wise, what's your lasting impression of like this horizontal vertical kick approach to fighting rather than like a kick punch in Street Fighter? Or
so I think it makes, in terms of gameplay, it's just a system, right? This game has its system as opposed to Tekken's, and at the end of the day, it's a fighting game, so they're like, yes, it's weapons, it's a tiny bit different, but at the end of the day, it's the same. It's a fighting game. I think what makes the system unique, though, is how unique the roster feels. I think it's easy for this roster to feel unique, and not in terms of character design, but like, I could not tell you who the dude with the katana is, but I remember his moveset because I used him, and I remember there was a dude with a katana, and he's somewhat usable. I think it's like
Yoshimitsu?
No, not Yoshimitsu. I actually know who Yoshimitsu. The other one, Mitsurugi.
Why am I not thinking of him at all?
The
main dude. The Ryu.
Main dude? Okay, yeah. So I must have used him at some point. I must have tried the katana. But, like, I remember the katana.
Yeah.
I also remember... I think Ivy's a memorable character, but, like...
Yes, you could say that.
Dude with staff. Don't know his name. It's Keelik, according to this guide I'm looking at online. But dude with staff. Yeah. There is lady with sword and shield who is Link, but not really Link. Do I know her name? Sure, yeah.
There's Sophitia and there's Cassandra. They both kind of have sword and shield.
I think it's Sophita. Sophitia is the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, yeah.
Who was the other one you said?
Cassandra.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, they're similar.
They're sisters, so that they're supposed to be.
Got it. Cervantes kind of sticks out in terms of character design, but he was like two-sword guy and had some weird combos based off that. So, like, I was remembering the moveset of the weapon more so than the character, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but that's how, like, the lasting impression of the fighting system relates to this game.
I think it's a great, because, like, prior to this, like, I feel like I remember playing Taki, and it was just, like, she's got the, kind of, like, daggers, but, like, Talim, the whole time I've been playing, it's, like, chick with elbow knives. Like, that's the
Valdo is Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger, Italian Freddy Krueger, right? Yeah. Like, it's a good roster.
Taki is a memorable character. I would say has interest in physics.
I fired up SoulCalibur 6 again, like, just to
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
right, revisit, and I was like, well, clearly, like, because like I also, with having an Xbox for the first time this year, I've also picked up Dead or Alive 3, and Dead or Alive 3 has some interesting physics.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, but I'm thinking like, all right, SoulCalibur 6, I'm sure they got away from that. So like, how does Taki play in this one? Taki plays exactly the same, with the exact same physics in SoulCalibur 6. I was surprised. So you played a lot of Street Fighter 6 last year. You played some Tekken 8 this year. Do you feel more or less confident in SoulCalibur? Obviously, I think Street Fighter 6, you feel pretty confident.
Yeah, that's just knowing. I know character moves and what's could be. Yeah, there's just a level of I put in the hours and some homework.
Do you feel like that helped you in this? Like, you know, obviously this is a return for you, SoulCalibur 2, but do you feel like more competent in this now? After 6?
Probably, yeah. I mean, probably after. I mean, definitely from childhood when I didn't. I mean, again, I played through the weapon mastery mode, but I remember just kind of like ending. And I mean, this definitely ends. So I don't know if I just stopped playing or if I went down a wrong route, and like I had no idea. I just remember kind of ending. But with I don't know, this time again, patience is a virtue sometimes in these games. And I think there's just like, I went into this knowing how many hours of Street Fighter 6 I had to go through just to get to the level that I got to, which is like fine, okay, decent. I would say with Manon, not anyone else, just Manon.
You were pretty good though.
But with one character, I can't replicate that with anyone else.
Fair enough.
So, I knew how much effort was going to be into this, and I knew I wasn't going to give this the time of day to get to that level. So I just kind of went in just knowing like it is what it is, and without like a good introduction practice mode, I will never be very good at this game, or good or decent. I'm just gonna learn on the fly and be okay with what I learn. And if I feel confident enough with the character, maybe look at that command list a little bit more.
It's still daunting to me.
Oh, it still is. I'm not saying I'd ever got there. I'm just saying if I ever felt that good, I would open it back up.
Let's kind of quickly run through visuals and sound in the game just to look at those together. But you talked a bit about like how the weapons become more of the characters in this game than the characters themselves. Was there anything about designs or animation of each of the characters that stands out to you? Even
it all lends its hand to like that medieval fantasy feel. You can't really escape that. And you know, in a fighting game, that doesn't necessarily it doesn't lose its appeal in terms of a theme for me, because I'm not, you know, fantasy like Dungeons and Dragons, typical Dungeons and Dragons, not really my thing. Besides like Dark Souls, but like, you know, it has that vibe, but it doesn't make me like meh. I just recognize that as like the theme is going for. But like again, going back to kind of what I'm saying, like each horizontal, you know, strike, each vertical strike feels different because each character has a different weapon. You know, punches in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, yes, they are different. They go into different combos depending on the character, but a punch is a punch. Katana hit versus a, you know, like a nightstick kind of like, or like a kendo stick hit, or, you know, something like that. They feel different. And I think that lends to what I was saying, you know, earlier with like, I consider like the weapon almost the character. And then as I play and see more of them, then I like, all right, yes, that is Taki. That is, that, like I said, Valdo sticks out on his own, but like that is Sophitia as opposed to Cassandra.
They do feel different. Did you run into anything weird, glitches, visual bugs? Just like I ran into nothing. It's something.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I had to play this on an emulator, unfortunately, but I don't think the emulator cleaned up anything. If anything, the main menu looked worse. So,
oh yeah.
So I don't think it was cleaning up anything. The only thing that sucked, and I don't know if this was the emulator or this was just the design. The Inferno fight is impossible to see Inferno and hit like the first few frames of a move. It's just fire everywhere.
No, that was pretty. Yeah, I think that happened on hardware as well.
Yeah, it didn't make the fight impossible, but if you're like trying to see like what they're about to throw, my eyesight could not keep up with all the fire and his fire and make the difference, and I would miss maybe the first few frames of a strike if I knew it was coming.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Overall art style, I mean, it's cohesive. I think that, like, the other important thing is, like, from what I've seen of Heihachi, from what I remember of Link, and what I've seen of Spawn in this, all the characters do blend with the world well enough. They fit, right? Like, sometimes guest characters can seem out of place, but I feel like they all kind of work in their own way in the world of SoulCalibur II. Generally speaking. Do you think the visuals hold up today?
I think so. Without playing the HD version and playing more of the PS2 version, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bummed. I swore that I had the HD version on 360, but I just don't. I think I had it through Game Pass or something way back when, and not, I don't know, but now it's delisted, and yeah. Sound-wise, was there anything significant in the audio department for you?
The bleeding sound effect of the gold going into your account. I don't know why it was like super tinny, I think. It was ear-piercing at certain volumes. There's that. The feature unlock and the class up sound effects stuck with me. No, I think, the music's also played into that theme of like medieval fantasy. But I think there was some, now without being able to like identify a certain score, I kind of liked the background music on some of it sounded epic, more epic than it needed to in a way.
Yeah, but I'm with you. Otherwise it was just kind of like, I don't want to call it generic because it was not that, but it's definitely just like, yeah, it fits the atmosphere, and that's about it. There's not like a memorable thing for me. The announcer. Do you think the announcer is as iconic as the Halo multiplayer announcer?
No.
It still works, though. I love all the weird,
it works.
like...
I saw this question on your outline. I'm like, what? No. I should have struck it. Honestly, I should have struck it.
But like, some of the stuff he says in terms of, like, I don't know, just some of the weird turns of phrases. I didn't write any of them down, but just like, 2 souls enter. What? Like, all those stupid little...
Sure, yeah.
Those are fun. Overall, what was your opinion of the game?
I think it's good. I think there's something special with the game, but I'm too ignorant to identify why.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I think it's like I know it's good, and I was relieved that it ended up still playing it, because it does feel really good to play. I think if you've not played this and you're like, I could go for a new fighting game right now, but I don't know. If you looked at the current run of like Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1, and Tekken 8, and none of them are like really standing out to you, I think going back to SoulCalibur 2 is totally... I mean, it's not viable in terms of playing online in the modern era, but it's viable in terms of, like, it's competent, it plays really well. I guess if you want something to play online, go for 6, because 6 still feels the same as 2 in many ways.
Right.
And a lot of the characters are there, too.
Now, but I guess the one thing I didn't bring up in terms of gameplay was, like, it feels fast for a 3D fighter.
Yeah, it does.
And maybe I'm misremembering Tekken from this era, but I feel like Tekken's slower. Mortal Kombat, it's stiff. It's historically been stiff.
Yeah.
And then like 2D fighters just play different. I mean, the 3D arena fighter, like I like the fact that I don't have to double press an arrow key to run. The character just fucking runs around the arena. It's kind of awesome, and it makes
you can just hold
it makes for those ring out opportunities really cool because you're on the edge, and then you can pivot yourself out of there and do like a grab or like some kind of combo to get the way the movement in the arena and how fast it is really lends to the way a round can play out. I think more so than in other like a Tekken from this era.
Yeah. No, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it is a very, maybe that's why I like it approach wise. Like it is very speedy, I think. How about replay value?
I think there's a lot because of the Weapon Master, and you just get like, all right, round 2, New Game Plus. You get that there. And then I think one of the sub-chapter dungeons, you have to be like level 74 to experience or something like that. I was looking how to unlock one of them. I was like, I'm not getting there.
72, 4, 6, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, that's a lot of playing this to get to this if you want to do the grind. I mean, there's all the arcade modes, of course. Plenty of side modes. But even like if you just want to master your character, that is an endless journey into mastering a few of these characters, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think you kind of touch on that. My last question, just about like, does this game have depth? And I think wholly and
yes.
Yeah, a resounding yes. Like, there's a lot to this game. A lot that, we could have been playing since 2002 and still probably wouldn't have scratched the surface of it. Maybe the surface, but not the bottom of the hole.
At least be able to read the move list.
Yeah, because it's intense. It's very intense. It's not like just a list of combos. There's just like a lot of things that you do and can do that, yeah. Well, this is the part in the show where we prepare to rank the video game, and of course, it's a special one since it'll be our 100th ranking. Before we get there, Matt, and while we give the listeners time to follow along at home at thefreecheese.com/thelist, final thoughts on SoulCalibur II.
It's very good. If you're a beginner, it shows his age there. But again, I don't think that's a detriment to the game. It's just the era of where we're at. But if you can get past that, I think there's a lot of fun to be. I think this is really good. I think this is a really good pack. I think there's a good single player package here. If you have friends that can get into this, I think there's some depth of what you two or that your little community can play, and different characters to master and different types and stuff like that. This is a package. This is a package for sure.
Yeah, I like that part you called out there. Like, as a single player game, I put that in my review where I think, like, so many fighting games, like, they're, even if you love them, they kind of hit a point where, like, okay, so for example, Street Fighter 6, we both got way into last year, and I loved it. I've since let my PlayStation Plus lapse, and I have no intention of renewing it. That game is useless to me. I've got nothing to do in that game now, because I can't play it online. And same thing with Tekken. Like, I cleared the arcade mode in Tekken. They've not added anything else, like, not arcade, but the story mode. I don't have Plus. I can't go online. What am I doing with that game? Sure, I can keep practicing and whatever, but, like, barring you coming over and playing one of those things physically in person, I got nothing. Where SoulCalibur II, all this time that I've just spent into it that led to us loving it so much has been on my own. We've not played together yet. And, like, I still have plenty to do. I can still keep going back through the other Weapon Master stuff, and I have a couple more characters to unlock. Like, there's still more weapons to unlock itself. Like, there's a lot more to do in this game that I don't want to not do. Like, I still want to play this. It's like, some games on the list, not just because we're kind of like over it or anything else, but just like some of these games on the list, like as good as they are, like I don't need to go back to. I don't know. Like I don't think I'm gonna replay Eco anytime soon.
No.
Eventually I will.
Sorry,
right?
but to be fair, I was the low one on that. So
you were, but like even I don't know. Like even Quake, right? Like, am I gonna replay Quake beginning to end soon? Like I don't. Maybe yeah. Actually,
Quake 5 announcement might drive you there.
Yeah, that might. But this one, like, I have it on Xbox. I'm just gonna pop it in from time to time and play it and keep playing it. Hopping off here tonight, I kind of want to go just keep playing more of it because it's fun to play through. And I've got 6 reinstalled on my Xbox Series X, and I kind of want to just keep playing more of 6 as well.
I think that's where I might stop with this, just knowing where we're at in life and where this entry it's done. I don't even see a lot of like Evo like side tournaments with this game. I can't recall one. So like I think we've moved past this game as a community. Whether that's a good or bad thing, that's another conversation. But I'm more curious about 6 now because I never cared about 1 fighting game. 2, like you mentioned at the very top, it's not even like Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. It's SoulCalibur.
Yeah.
But if anything, I guess replaying, because I did play this as a kid. With a more appreciation of it now, I'm more curious in the franchise. And maybe 6 isn't my jumping off point, but there is a 7. I might sniff it.
Do you think we get a 7 at Evo this year?
I'd be curious. 6 was 2018, right?
That sounds right.
I know it's pre-COVID, because I remember Ben talking about it on the podcast. So I know.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah,
that was pre-COVID.
Yeah, and Ben was. I think Ben was on the podcast for 2018, like kind of beginning to end that year.
So yeah,
like a little bit of 17. But yeah.
Think,
that's.
And Tekken's out now. I mean, it just came out, so maybe it's more so next year. But yeah, I think the next SoulCalibur it's ready. It's ready to be announced if they're working on it.
Which guest character needs to be in SoulCalibur 7?
Oh. Well, all right. So this is where it gets weird because we didn't mention it, but was it Cloud Strife? I mean, I read it on Wikipedia, my research. But wasn't Cloud Strife supposed to be the original PlayStation 2?
I did not know that. That's interesting.
I mean, that's not a nugget that I've hung on to for forever. That's just a Wikipedia find.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting now that if 7 has kind of come back full circle, if there is a partnership between Bandai and Square.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Cloud makes sense for this. I think Cloud could fit too, right? Like
Buster Sword, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the thing too. Is like who has iconic weapons?
Well, evidently Hihashi just has fists and gloves, and he made it in. So
yeah, that's true. He seems like the exception to the rule. But
yeah, I don't. There's got to be a good one. There's sucky ones that I know for sure are probably fucking something dumb from Fortnite.
Oh, gross! No.
Fucking whatever the hell they are called in not Among Us. That's another bad one. But what's Fall Guys? Fucking little chubby thing.
Oh man,
there's some shit. If they want to do the exclusive things again, I could see Kratos being the PlayStation mascot.
Yeah, that could be something.
I will want them to use the blades. Was it Blaze of Sparta though? I will want it old school.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to use the Leviathan axe.
No, yeah, not the axe. No. I know this is probably a cop out, but I feel like the Ninja Turtles make more sense here than they did. I mean, obviously they made sense in Injustice because they're comic book characters, but I think they make a lot of sense in something like this.
Christ, weren't there skins in Smite? Or was that...
Yeah.
Was it Smite or was it the other one, League of Legends?
No, you're right.
Smite.
Smite's the one.
Make more sense here than in Smite, so...
True. Don't forget that Agent 47 uses a katana, so that could be a character you throw
Also
in.
uses a hammer.
Also uses a hammer. Just have him show up with that. That'd be pretty good. But I do like I never would have thought 2B ends up in a fighting game.
That's Square Enix. Hey, that's Square Enix.
So we're kind of a bridge right there, yeah. Maybe a Shin Megami Tensei character. One of those protagonists. Bring one of them in or something like that. I don't know what else. I like the idea of a version exclusive thing.
They won't, but it'd be cool.
Yeah. Because other than Link, what Nintendo? Fire Emblem. Of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Fuck. Well, that's a disappointing Nintendo character. That makes all the sense in the world. So then who would be Xbox? Who will be Xboxes nowadays?
I mean, Tony Hawk probably. Like they own everything, right?
Oh right, I forgot they have the whole fucking library.
Yeah. They can do whatever they want, man.
Is Doom Guy rocking an axe now, or is it just that sword or shield? I mean,
I don't know. I'm not sure on that one, but yeah, Doom Guy could certainly end up in it.
Fuck, yeah. It's gonna be Indiana Jones and his fucking whip.
I don't care for the character, but I wouldn't mind a whip in a game. I'm trying to think of
who the hell within.
They did have to do like a Killer Instinct character or something.
I mean,
right?
you could Fallout, like Melee is like it's a build. You could do like a baseball bat or something dumb.
Yeah.
With a vault character. Vault costume or whatever.
Yeah. I think Ninja Turtles, and make everybody mad and make them all for platform, right? Like Raphael's Switch exclusive.
Oh, Jesus, do it by their colors?
Yeah. Like Leonardo's PS, whatever. I guess Michelangelo would be Xbox and Donatello PC.
I'm
stretching.
I know red and blue. What are they? Purple. What's the fourth?
Orange. It's a stretch.
You know, you piss people off. You do console exclusive stuff, and then you sell the console exclusive stuff as the collector's edition. That's $80. So or like $90, whatever the fuck it is nowadays.
There you go. That's the one.
You get 3 days early access and all the characters.
God, yeah. $50 more. I'll close out on this. Shinobi.
Okay.
Put Sega back on the map. Done and done. SoulCalibur 7. Well, we'll find out at EVO in a couple of weeks. But right now, we'll find out where this game ranks on the list. Listeners, if you didn't go there already, thefreecheese.com/thelist. And you can view everything we've reviewed so far, all 99 other video games, as SoulCalibur II joins the list at number... all right, I'll put this out there. I think it's a top 20 game, Matthew.
At least.
Is it a top 10 game?
That's where I'm at.
All right, let's do this.
That's where I'm thinking. I'm trying to figure out how or why or where specifically, but I think me personally, Floor is above Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah.
The new number 12.
Okay. I'm good with that. I'm very good with that. This is what really sucks. As I'm climbing here, I'm already above Hotline, but then we run into Street Fighter 6. And it's like...
You see, we're doing that thing where I was saying a couple weeks ago I'm trying to avoid doing, where we start climbing and looking at other games, and more so is kind of throwing a dart at something here and trying to land and seeing if the immediate neighbors... My problem is, I think this is where it gets weird, because in that 10 to 7 and 6, I would even include 6. I guess we should include 6. Are a lot of my favorite games. I'm like very high on all these games, and the like you might be low on one than me, but all those games I like a lot. From Portal 2. That is Resident Evil 4 remake, right?
That's remake.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the argument. I think I like this better than Tears of the Kingdom.
I agree.
I'm having issues though putting above Quake 2 though. Like that's where like I'm at. It gets weird.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't hate it, I see. I think Hotline is a very good game with no faults. Well, not many faults.
Interesting.
From visuals to soundtrack to gameplay.
So you don't like this above Street Fighter 6?
I don't think I do. I understand why you don't like World Tour mode, but as a new player, World Tour mode was like the perfect introduction to that game.
Fair.
That got me hooked to keep playing.
Fair.
I think that's why I'm higher on the ratings board. I think that's why I'm higher than both of you, because I enjoyed World Tour. I didn't play all the way through, to be fair. Like I stopped. I got tired of it after so many hours, but it was the gateway drug to what ends up being my time with Street Fighter 6.
All right,
and cared about that game.
Eco, SoulCalibur, Tears of the Kingdom. Is this the new number 8?
If we get to Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, I'm above Eco. You don't have to. You don't.
No,
have to
I don't think
me.
I am. I don't think I am above Eco.
Okay.
You lifting up Hotline reminded me of how good Hotline was, and you're right. That game has very few faults, if any. It's a solid experience all the way through. And so I think
Put
Hotline
above Tears
stays.
of the Kingdom. Put above Tears of the Kingdom.
All right, you heard it there, folks. Matt, we're getting some good video games in this list finally.
I know.
We spent a little while circling the drain.
Well, WarioWare was our exception.
WarioWare was a good surprise this year, but we haven't cracked the top 10 other than that. This is good. This is very good. All right, congratulations, SoulCalibur II. And to all of you listeners for joining us here on this journey of 100 video games so far. Matt, I think it's time we revisit the top 10 in full. If you're not looking at this on a screen at home, here's your new top 10, because we haven't had a shakeup like this in a long time. Number 10, Resident Evil 4 Remake from 2023. Number 9, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Number 8, SoulCalibur II. Number 7, Eco. Number 6, Hotline Miami. Number 5, Street Fighter 6. Number 4, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Number 3, WarioWare Incorporated Mega Micro Games. Number 2, Quake. And for now, number 1, Wii Sports. Of course, our entire what's the raison d'etre this season is to dethrone Wii Sports. And we're working to do that one game at a time. Last week, we took another look at Pokemon Gold and Silver. Next month, we'll be closing out the chapter on Tetris Effect. And then we've got Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Halo Combat Evolved. And we'll be looking at all those and ranking everything later on this year to see if we can knock Wii Sports out of the top. Next week, our road to EVO continues with a non-game specific episode, but instead what we are doing is we're watching Salty Bet for a whole week. So check us out. See if you can find us on the leaderboards in the next few weeks here. Or I guess, next week for you listening. See if you can beat Matt and I on the bets. Salty Bet, if you are unfamiliar, is a Twitch channel. I think it's still just saltybet.com. You can go there and bet on Mugen fighters with fake currency. It's one of the most fascinating Twitch channels that's ever existed.
Yes. Yeah, there's that. Though I think, if you've never been to saltypet.com, I swear we promise it's not malware. Just go, the less you know, the better. Just spend 15 minutes. Yes.
Just go hang out and check that out. And we'll do a whole episode on that next week, just sort of talk about its history, our histories with it, what it means for fighting games, etc.
You said Twitch channel. It is on Twitch, but it's a better experience to go on the website because you can do the
1,000%
betting.
Yes, you should definitely go to the website. You should definitely sign up for an account there. It is worth the price of entry, which is nothing. Do that. Check it out. saltybet.com. Then we'll close out July with our final look at fighting games with Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. I'm looking forward to that one too. I've been playing a bit of that. I finally know how to play that game, Matt, which is exciting to me. So more on that later as we look toward EVO and see what happens with fighting games this year. Until next week, thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.